Hello everyone. In this particular session, let's talk about data type in SQL. So guys, data type is very core concept in every programming language. In SQL, if you are going to create any tables, columns or variable, then you must declare the data type of that particular variable. Okay, then you can utilize that variable or column accordingly. So let's understand what kind of data type we have in SQL and how we can use of it. So guys, first of all, we have numerical data type. First of all, we have a big int where we can store large amount of integer number. Similarly, we have integer where we can store this particular range. Similarly, we have a small int. So this is the particular range, and this is for a tiny int, and the tiny int range starts from 0 to 255. And this is for bit. Let's say if you are going to store 0 and 1, null, or maybe true and false. All right, and the numbers also classify in the decimal point as well. So in case you want to use decimal, so this is the fixed precision scale. Okay, decimal 10 comma 2. So guys, sometimes people are utilizing decimal 10 comma 2. So what is the meaning of it? So we can store up to 10 digit and 2 after the decimal. And if you are going to store money, so this is the money value. Similarly, if you are going to store some small money, so this is the particular value in plus and minus. So let me give you some examples in SQL Server so that you can understand in better way. So guys, let's say first of all, what I am doing, I am going to declaring a variable. This is test, and the data type of this particular variable is tiny int, and here I am going to store 500. Okay, so what if when I'm going to print this particular value? So let's understand here the tiny int range is 0 to 255. So when I'm going to execute this particular statement, and here I'm getting an exception, arithmetic overflow error, right? Because tiny int can store the value between 0 to 255. So here I am going to store 255. So this particular value is acceptable. So here I am getting this particular answer. Similarly, let me define another variable which is declare @int, and here I am going to define a small int, and the value is, let's say, 32,000. And when I'm going to print this particular value, you can see the output, right? Because this is in range. The range of the normal integer is 32,768 and to 32,767, right? So what I'm doing here, what if when I'm going to write 769? So again, I will have the same error, arithmetic overflow. All right. Similarly, let me tell you about the bit data type. Okay. And as I just mentioned, in this particular data type, we can store 1, 0, null, true and false. So here I am going to store as a 0 and I am going to print at a bit. Now let me run this. So you can see here. Similarly, I can store the 1 as well. And if I want to store null, so you can store the null as well, right? Simple. Similarly, if you want to store a true, okay, for true, it will give me the error, right? But now what if when I'm going to convert into the string, and here you can see it is giving me 1. Similarly, if I'm going to write false, it will give me a 0. Is it clear for every one of you? All right. And similarly, if I'm going to declare a variable as a decimal, and guys, here I am going to define 6 comma 2. So the meaning is we can store, right, up to 6 digit, right? 6 digit and 2 after decimal. Simple. So here I am going to store the value, let's say 8085.50. So here before decimal I have 4 value and after decimal I have 2 value. So total value I have 6. So when I'm going to print @decimal, so you can see. Simple. But what if when I'm going to write here 1, now I have total 7 digit, right? So this is 5 and this 2. So when I'm going to execute this, and here I'm getting an exception. Okay, so that's why the people are utilizing here 10 comma 2. Now it is working fine. So that's how you can store your decimal values. All right. Now the next data type is approximate numerical data type. So guys, when to use float versus real? So use real when you need to save space and high precision is not required. But on the other hand, if you are utilizing the float 53 when you need high precision, okay, so you can utilize the float 53. So it is just similar to the double in other database. And whenever you are going to utilize real, so I would suggest you need to avoid when you are going to calculate financial calculation. All right. And now let's talk about string data type. So guys, there are two data type basically for string, which is non-Unicode and Unicode. I'll give you the example. So here we have a character data type. Okay, in case you are thinking your data type with fixed length of data. For an example, let's say PAN number, Aadhaar card number, UN number, or you can say that zip code, right? These are fixed number of character or number of digit. In case your data is changing, for an example, employee name, customer name, email address, or mailing address, so in that case, you can define the varchar. This is the variable length data, and we can store up to 8,000 character in char and 8,000 character in varchar as well. Similarly, if you are going to store larger data set, then you can utilize here the varchar max. Interesting. So guys, as I just mentioned, we have Unicode string data type for international characters. So we can utilize NCHAR, which is fixed length data, and we can store up to 4,000 character. And similarly, we have NVARCHAR, which is variable length of data, and we can store 4,000 of character. And in NVARCHAR max, we can store the string up to 2 GB. All right. So guys, as I just mentioned, we have two types of data type, which is non-Unicode and Unicode. So whenever you are going to utilize non-Unicode, right? So non-Unicode basically store the data into a single byte, or you can say that multi-byte encoding. It is completely depend upon collation of the database. So example of character data type include char and the varchar. All right. As I just mentioned, if you are going to utilize non-Unicode character, so non-Unicode character require 1 byte per character, most of the language. Okay. So this is basically 1 byte per character. Okay. Similarly, if I am talking about for Unicode, so Unicode is utilizing UTF encoding. Okay. So in case you want to store multiple language like Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, okay. So these are the example of Unicode characters where we can utilize NCHAR and NVARCHAR. All right. And guys, when I just mentioned 1 byte per character in non-Unicode, so you can utilize char or you can say that varchar. So what is the meaning of NCHAR here? What is the meaning of N? So N means national char, national varchar. Okay. So these Unicode characters support multiple language, right? Including English as well. But in non-Unicode, you can store the data only in English. So guys, for an example, let's say if I'm working in China, do you think I will be capture your name in English? No, right? Even in China, people are not speaking in English. So in this case, you need to store my name in Chinese language. So I will be utilize here NVARCHAR. Or I can use NCHAR as well, but just I'm giving an example. If you are working in different languages except English, so you can utilize the Unicode data type. These Unicode data type can store multiple language, including English as well. But on the other hand, non-Unicode character or non-Unicode data type will support only English. Okay, so I hope you understood. So what is the benefit when I'm utilizing the Unicode? So it support all the language and characteristic defined by the Unicode standard. All right. But remember one thing. So here your 2 byte per character. Okay. That's why, as I just mentioned, this is 1 to 8,000 character. Okay. And it is going to occupy 2 byte characters. So 1 to 4,000 of characters, right? You can see here. Interesting. And here we have 8,000 of characters. Okay guys, so you need to keep in mind Unicode character require 2 byte per character regardless of the language. So guys, for an example, right now I'm working in learning database. Okay, so let me check here, select database property, and here I'm going to define the DB name. Okay, and I want to check the collation as a result. So when I'm running this, EX. Now let me run again. Okay, let me remove this Y. All right. So guys, when I'm going to run this, so here you can see I'm utilizing SQL Latin 1 General CP1 CIAS. So this is non-Unicode data type with collation, okay, which support Western European language, okay. So if you are going to store, let's say, English or maybe Spanish or maybe French or German, right? So I can store all the information in this particular collation. But in case, let's say you want to change the collation, okay, so sometime based on the business need, so you can utilize alter database, and you can define your database here, and you can use collate, and here you can utilize, let's say, Latin 1 general 100 CIAS and SC. Okay, so this particular collation basically for Chinese, Japanese, Hindi, and English. Okay, and it is always use Unicode character, which is NCHAR and NVARCHAR. Okay, so this thing you need to keep in mind. So guys, now let me give you some examples how we can store the Chinese language. So guys, right now I want to capture the Chinese language. Okay, and here my current SQL collation is this, right? So simple, I am going to create table which is Chinese data, and here I am going to define, let's say, ID as an integer, and here I am going to define name, which is and varchar, up to 100 character I can define. So guys, this is nothing, this is your Unicode for Chinese characters. Okay, so guys, this is very important, right, in terms of interview perspective as well. And similarly, what can I do? And here I am going to define the description. Okay, and this is also and where care, and here I am writing max, okay, for long text, right? And now let me create this particular table. So table is created. So right now I don't have any data, and I'm going to read this table. Simple. So you can see here, so I have ID, name, and description. So right now what I'm doing, I want to insert into Chinese data. Okay, and I have ID, I have name, and I have description. And here I want to insert the values where I'm writing ID as a 1. So guys, here I am going to type N. Here I want to type the name, and similarly here I am going to mention N, and here I want to supply my description. Okay, so let's take a name and description. So let's say simple Chinese name. Okay, so here I am going to capture this one. Okay, so this is my name, and I can keep here. So example, let's say earth description in Chinese language, just an example. Okay, and here I got this, so I am going to copy, and here I am going to capture. Simple. So now let me run this statement, and here the one row is affected. And guys, right now I am going to read the data. So you can see here I have captured this name, and any random description I have captured. So you will be notice here I am utilizing N, okay, before the string literals. So this is ensure that the input is treated as a Unicode. So guys, sometime in interview people are asking, can you explain what is the meaning of N? So here N represent as a Unicode characters. All right. Now let's understand one more thing. So let's say select column name I am going to utilize here, and I want to find out the collation name, okay, from information schema dot columns, and here where, let's say, table name, okay, equal to, this is my table name, Chinese data, and the column name, for an example, this one. Now let me run this. So guys, here you can see I am going to utilize this particular SQL collation. So in general way, if you are going to define any collation, so some collation will have some rules and guidelines based on Unicode character or non-Unicode characters. Okay. So you can, check out on the SQL community if you are going to utilize some other collation based on the business requirement. All right. And similarly, if I am writing here, let's say select server property. Okay. And here I am using collation as server collation. Okay. So when I'm going to run this, so guys, here I am getting the server property. All right. Similarly, if I am utilizing here, let's say a universal query, so select name as a database name. Okay. And now I am going to utilizing the collation name as collation and from system dot database or databases. So when I'm going to run this, so here you will see these are the database, let's say I am utilizing here, and this is the SQL collation. And here I have not defined any collation. Okay. So as I just mentioned, depend upon the business use, you can define your collation if needed. Okay. But yes, you need to keep in mind every collation will have own standard to support multiple language. So guys, in the Unicode character, you can define multiple language, including English as well. Okay. So this thing you need to keep in mind. Let's take another example. Let's say if I am going to create table, just an example, Hindi table. Okay. Hindi table. And this is my ID. This is int and primary key. Do not understand what is the primary key. We'll explain in the another session. And here I'm going to utilize NVARCHAR up to 100 characters. So here again, this is the Unicode character storing the Hindi text, right? Now let me run this particular table. And here, what I want, I am going to insert into Hindi table, which is ID and Hindi text as well. Okay. And my values is 1. And here I am writing once again N, and here I can define any Hindi name. Okay. So let me take a name in Hindi. So for an example, let's say this one. So just I am going to copy and just I am going to paste. So when I'm going to run this, so it is capturing that particular information, and here select star from Hindi table, and here we can see. Interesting. And similarly, what can I do? I can show you here. The table name is Hindi table and the column name is Hindi text. If I want to check the collation, so again, I have the same collation. So guys, I hope you understood, right? How I am defining the variables, how I am going to define Unicode character and non-Unicode character. So simple, in layman way, you need to understand if you are dealing with, European language, Chinese language, some other language except English, then you can utilize the Unicode. Although Unicode data type can store the English as well. But for more specifically, if you want to utilize only the English, then you can utilize non-Unicode character, which is char and varchar max. Interesting. So guys, similarly, if you are going to store the data type based on date and time, so you can utilize the date, time n, this is the date time, small date time 2, okay, more precise, and the date time offset in case you are going to offset the date time based on the time zone. And we have some other data type in case we want to store the XML, so we can utilize XML data type. In case you are going to utilize the GUID, which is globally unique identifier, so you can use unique identifier as a data type. In case you want to generate your unique number, so you can utilize row version. And the last data type, which is SQL variant, okay, which can store different data type in a particular column. No need to define the data type more specifically if you want to declare SQL variant. All right. So guys, this is all about the SQL data type, and I hope you enjoy in the session. And this particular session is basically focusing on Unicode character and non-Unicode characters. Okay. So in case if you have any query, any confusion, please let me know in the comment box. And for now, thanks for watching and have a great day.